Eric, are you not very excited on that angle?
We'll call ourselves to order. Thank you. Please rise and join me in a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We'll call our roll. I'm present. Dr. O'Neill is out of town tonight. Mr. Heater? Present. Dr. Washburn?
Present.
Mr. Irvin? Present. Mr. Lowe? Present. And Mrs. Barnes-Griffin, are you with us? Not yet. She may be joining us. We will make a note of it if that occurs. We are in for a real treat tonight. We have MCHS percussion, award-winning percussion coming in. And yeah. So state finals, first place is the state champion. Is that right?
Yes, state champions. Second year out for competing, and they are state champions.
Okay,
So.
that's just fantastic. What are your ages?
So we have a couple 8th graders and freshmen all the way through junior, I think, right? No seniors in here? Yeah, so 8th grade through 11th grade.
Okay,
A
so
few more of them couldn't make it.
couldn't
tonight.
make it. Tell us about the show.
So it's based on a poem. Of course, now I forget about the author's name. Do you remember the author's name? No. That's okay. But it's based on a poem. It was actually written during COVID shutdown, just about how you started out feeling just so helpless and uncertain about what's going on and things like that. And then over time, the show sort of develops into a more positive message of sort of acceptance and growth and just being there for each other and being very positive, kind of a positive light for other people.
And do we get some more folks coming in?
Yeah, I think maybe.
Are we still have some people out there? Okay. So tell us about the trophies. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, so this one is actually a trophy we get to keep at Central. It is their placard they get every year based on what you place. Obviously, the better you place, the bigger the plaque. We placed 12th last year, so our plaque was about that big. But as you can see, much bigger now. Each kid also got a gold medal for their accomplishments. And then every year, the Indiana Percussion Association offers up a traveling trophy as well for each class division. And throughout the years, you'll see all the different years of people that won the state championship for our class. And we just had ours engraved a couple weeks ago to have Muncie Central on there for 2025. So this will go back to the State Percussion Association at the end of the school year, and then, or I guess at the end of this season, and then we'll hopefully see it again sometime soon.
So tell us about the show. Do you all play snare drums? Is there bass drums?
So what we do actually is we have all the stationary equipment. So it's they all have like keyboard instruments, kind of like xylophones and things like that. And we also have several drum type instruments that are also stationary. It is more of kind of a concert approach to it as opposed to like the marching side of things. Do you guys want to say what instruments you played?
Oh,
Go ahead.
I play the marimba. It's like a bigger version of the xylophone.
Okay.
I play the vibraphone,
You
like
guys say your name.
xylophone, but with pedals.
Say your names.
Okay, I'm Gabby.
I'm Maya.
I'm David and I play the xylophone.
David, we've met before, haven't we?
I'm not sure.
Haven't you been at some meetings?
He is also the young man on the front of our handbook.
Yeah,
The handbook?
okay. Well, you're doing double duty. Thank you, David.
Also a model.
I'm Alexis. I played the synthesizer, which has been just electric keyboard.
Okay.
I'm Liam, I played congas.
And I'm not a music guy. What's a conga?
Just bigger bongos.
Oh, okay.
I'm Isaac. I play the marimba.
I'm Marcus. I play the toms, which are these 4 drums in front of you that you use sticks to hit.
Okay.
I'm Aiden. I play the cymbal and the gong.
I'm Zoe and I also play marimba.
I'm Jaden. I played the snare drum and what's called a djembe, which is like a hand drum.
Okay.
I'm Amelia and I play vibraphone.
What's a vibraphone?
It's it's like kind of looks like a marimba, but it's silver, or in my case it's black, and it's like it has a pedal. So
Okay.
every time you play a note, it rings.
Okay. Do we have a triangle player?
He's not here, actually.
You thought there was an opening for you, didn't you?
I
You're
was
like,
thinking, I can do the triangle. Okay. Well, anybody have any questions for our state champions here?
I heard their pre-performance and they were amazing. So
Well, you guys should be very proud. There's not a whole lot of folks that can claim to be state champions, so congratulations. And Coach, what's your name?
Tom, first.
Tom Hurst, and assistant coach?
Chris.
Chris.
I'm Will Westbrook.
Will Westbrook. Well, we'd love to have him play sometime.
Absolutely, and you'll see it's actually out this summer as well. We're with the marching band as well.
Okay.
So you'll see them in the back of the field, performing on their percussion instruments as well.
Okay. Well, best
They were-
wishes to all of
they were
you.
practicing last night. When I was at the school for an award ceremony, they were practicing last night under the canopy.
Well, thank
Awesome
you,
job.
thank you so much for coming down. Again, congratulations. We're very, very, very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. There you go.
We would note that Mrs. Barnes Griffin has arrived. Can you hear us? Okay. That was an affirmative.
Yep.
Okay, we are up to our second spotlight. And just to show you how communication can sometimes break down, even among what I consider to be relatively capable adults. I expected them to come in playing the drums. I thought it was going to be like the USC band coming in.
they're a bit big to travel.
Yeah.
No clue.
Takes 3 trailers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was, count me confused. And I thought there was going to be Mick Fleetwood coming in playing the drums. So, thank you. Southside Middle School, Mr. Raiders, your team's with us, and I promise I'm not nearly as confused about this.
I do have our administrative team here ready to sing for you at any moment. And I, speaking of breakdown in communication, I was not made aware that we'd be following state champions. So please don't expect a similar level performance with our presentation tonight. Thank you for having us. Dr. Washburn, nice to meet you. Those of you who've heard me speak about our school before know that we've talked about that our school is in a spot of transition and one that does not turn around quickly. So this is the cargo ship of the SSMS, Southside Middle School. And it's not a zero-turn mower, but we have made every effort to get our school turned around. You'll notice at the bottom of the screen that the focus of tonight's remarks is really on how we believe we have improved our school in lots of different categories. So thank you for your patience and your efforts, individually and collectively, to expedite the speed with which we do turn around our underperforming school. Per the improvements we have made and seen over the last 3 years, we felt we were ready to go full steam, using the metaphor again, full steam ahead at the beginning of this school year. While we had some unexpected challenges throughout the first part of the first semester that stalled our ship's progress, we believe we've recovered and are again moving in a positive direction. Again, this presentation will focus on the improvements and culminate with some of our students sharing their thoughts on that with you. The Southside community is one of great pride and dedication to our students. From the Panther Pantry in our building and the den that supports it on the clothing side, our parent and family support is outstanding, and we're pleased to report tonight that we now have hungry, or at least hungrier to succeed students who demonstrate their Panther pride daily, and like I said, you'll hear from some of them in a while. Sorry, I clicked ahead. The great challenges that many of our families face outside of the school certainly impact our students' success in it. We have a great spirit, though, to work together to get ourselves beyond the rhetoric of what SMS has historically been, and that spirit is evident and growing. We have had historically low educational engagement over the summers, which speaks to that in some ways to the challenges we face at the beginning of this school year. Historically low educational engagement over the summers and high staff and family turnover, which is not a winning combination. Nonetheless, we've had a great need, therefore, for high consistency on the leadership side of our school, which I am so proud to say we have had with Mr. Kraft, Mr. McCracken, and myself over the course of the last 3 years. As a team, I think we're tight, we're close-knit, we are very like-minded, we're hard workers, student-centered, learning-focused leaders who grind out our tough jobs every day in service to our kids. There's not a lot of flash with us, not a lot of glitz, just like the students in the community that we serve. We put our heads down and keep working forward in service, again, to our kids. To prove that, we guided our staff back to our roots by tracking student data. Notice that's student, not just students, plural. Student, individual, singular data and progress, making certain each and every student mattered to all our teachers and staff. The data boards referenced on this slide were literally created by our handy-dandy Mr. McCracken, who's very good at constructing things. And provided a great visual for our teachers beginning of the second semester that allowed them to see and to track each student's growth. So for example, last year's iLearn scores, the data boards began with that and then tracked each of the 3 checkpoints along the way, and a couple of those checkpoints had opportunity twos, where we could see if our kids were getting better. And again, the most important piece with that was the visual element for our teachers to walk into the data room and see their students' growth. When that began, as it says there in one of the bullet points, the red section, which is so the color scheme, just to review, with iLearn testing is red is low, yellow is nearing proficiency, green is proficient, and blue is above proficiency. Randy could not fit all of our students' names and pictures on the red section when we began this at the beginning of the second semester. We then took that group to the ILT, and a lot of educational gurus think that the best way to get a school out of the spot that our school's been in is to really focus in on those yellow kids, bubble kids, nearing proficiency kids, and that's right. But also, when we've got the overwhelming majority of our students in the red, we need to focus on how do we improve those students. And then we also, by tracking our data, found that, not only our data, but other schools' data, that some blues can remain blue but fall backwards a little bit. So you can start at above proficiency and be proficient, which is still passing, but it's going in the wrong direction. So these boards really helped us and really helped our teachers to get a sense. And then they took that very well to our students. By the way, thank you for allowing us to have Mr. Hayes, who joins us tonight, as our Dean of Students, which allowed Randy to jump into a role, Randy McCracken to jump into a role much like a master teacher, and he is paired with Monica Welcher, Randy with math and science, Monica with ELA and social studies to coach up our teachers in cluster. So our teachers began to really own the data and again, take this to the students. So what this graphic shows is this is an individual teacher who, by the way, came up with this himself, and began to track his students through their mastery checks. And you'll notice that the first half of it on the left, a lot of blank, so students not there to take the checks. Red, not doing real well. Yellow, getting there, but still not, and this is per individual standard. Notice on the right side, a lot of growth. So by the kids seeing their data, created in them some internal competitions, some across the classroom competition, classroom to classroom, in our school, team to team, grade level to grade level. This really helped. In last year's presentation, we talked about our teaming and our need to develop a spirit of competition. This illustrates that, particularly finally in the second semester, we got that going really well with individual students. So we've had a lot of growth. Notice, two of those students blew all the way across, so above proficiency on the standards all the way across. And I can tell you one of those students was a red student coming into the school year, so really has stepped it up.
Mr. Rader, could you stay on that for a second?
Sure.
So, first of all, what is this at pre-algebra? Is that right?
Yeah.
So, I'm assuming the names have been blocked out for the sake of FERPA.
Correct.
And then we're working our way. What's the data on the left again? I know the data on the right is the third quarter.
Sure. Yeah, I'll have Randy speak more to that. But yes.
Each week, the students take a mastery check, and it's over some of the content they're teaching at that moment. There's also some spiraling that goes on. The blanks, if you look at that very top row, the blanks may not indicate that the student wasn't here for that test. That's actually means that they've already mastered that question, that type of question, so they no longer need to take it. So once a student scores a 4 on the left-hand side on a test 2 times in a row, or 2 times, they've mastered it. Then on the right side is the actual learning objectives that they're learning, and they mark that. That's kind of an ongoing based on the information on the left, which is the weekly.
Okay, so this particular student, or this particular class shows a number of students who are demonstrating pretty significant statistically growth, right? Am I reading that correctly?
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Mastery of the content.
Mastery of the content.
Yes.
Well, and how is that the same as growth, or is that a different concept?
It depends on your definition of growth. Definition of growth in most analyses is going to be on I learn pass rate only. This is on, in our view, the path to get to that, and I'll speak to that here in a few minutes.
I was defining it more broadly.
Yeah.
So
yes, we interchange that growth, improvement, and I would say what we found, in fact, a couple key points to this. One, in the first semester, when we weren't doing this to the level that we wanted done, our math department, particularly in grades 6 and 7, fell behind by about 4 weeks worth of standards. Randy, Dr. Gatza from Ball State, our math teachers in cluster came up with a strategy to utilize power rotation to be the catch-up period. So math class continued on the curriculum map from the point that we caught how far we were behind. From that point forward, math class handled that. Power rotation then filled in the blank so that we would be through the standards by actually, literally, tomorrow when we begin iLearn math testing.
So did all of your teachers create this sort of data check for their respective courses?
We actually created it. All the math teachers are using it. Science to it, theirs is a little bit different. Like the learning objectives on the right-hand side are basically what's happening within a quarter.
Sure.
And that's from Andrew Gaskett. English wanted something similar, and so they're all at least tracking data now.
How are the students responding to seeing their progress? I'm assuming you're sharing it with them.
We are.
Yeah.
And they are I would say it this way, you could literally feel, and not literally touch, I guess, but feel the spirit of competition in the school. You know, we had, for example, we had a staff meeting one morning talking about, you know, this approach and take this back to the students and so on. I had a teacher ask me afterwards, that presentation you made, was that being piped out to the students in the front of the school as they gathered to come in the building? I'm like, no. Why? He said, I had 4 students come in and say, hey, tell me how I'm doing on yesterday's check. Like, that never happened before. And he thought it was because they were listening to my presentation. It had nothing to do with it. It had to do with that they had had the proper buttons pushed to compete, to want to do well. You know, our students are frustrated right now, having taken the ELA iLearn last week. They're frustrated they don't have their scores right now. There's that kind of one. And I'm just telling you, that's a change in our building. Please don't ever share our scores was more the mindset.
Yeah, no, I like this, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying, asking the questions. What we found then as we were nearing iLearn was that our students, particularly those who were really back to the bubble students, really in a place where they might be able to really pass iLearn. Let's give them an extra boost. So our teachers came up with, this was a voluntary basis, a boot camp. So see, Monday nights and Wednesday nights after school for an hour. One night was ELA night, one night was math night. With students to come in on their own. We invited them, didn't make them, to have a focused address to the standards. What we found was that teachers and students really liked the environment, no distractions. Gosh, I can finally really focus in on learning, says the teacher, and says, of course, the student. So we'll see, obviously, if that paid off. But I would say that for us, this was kind of the 2025 innovation that matches with some of the developments in our work together, like teaming, power rotation, our ACE program, behavior coaches, stop, drop, and read, and other initiatives. So we have to report to the IDOE, obviously, and there's a federal accountability subgroup report card. Amy Parker from the state is our IDOE school specialist. She has advised us early and often in our work that the key to overcoming failing school status is not to dwell on the F grade, but to focus on improvement. So to demonstrate that, and this is literally how I demonstrated this with our students, I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. Williams, for a second. Do you believe there is a difference between an F that is a 35% and an F that is a 55%? Is there a difference in those two grades?
Yes, there is.
And what is that difference?
The 55% is much closer to passing than the 35%.
Very good. Anyone disagree with that? Okay, well, I would, to be a counter-arguer, an F is an F. So a 55 says F in the grade book, a 35 says F in the grade book, and F is an F. And I say that because when you look at our test scores, you're not passing, you're not passing, you're not passing. Okay. And Amy Parker said, right, but you got to have your staff and your students look at it, as you just did, Mr. Williams. There's a difference between a 35% F and a 55%. That difference is 20 points, and the 55% F, if you focus on, especially if that student went from 35 to 55, and you focus on that improvement, hey, you gain that next 20 points, you can be in C land. Same concept, different numbers as it relates to red, to yellow, to green. When we put it into the grade book terms, it clicked for our students and they got it. So Amy's point is, A, focus on improvement. Secondly, this data indicates that over the course of 22 to 23 to 23-24, we had growth in every subgroup. I was like, okay. And she's like, no, that's commendable. That doesn't happen. You don't have growth. Too many schools, again, focus in, we're going to really focus in on this subgroup or that subgroup, or again, the bubble students versus what you've done is your team, is you're focusing on lifting every single student that you possibly can, and it's showing up in their overall growth.
So I'm going to stop you there for a second. I
Okay.
want to just take a moment and recognize this. You're talking about, again, really significant improvements across each of those subgroups according to the IDOE accountability report card.
Correct.
Over the course of that year. And I think it's too easy for your students, for our families, for perhaps your faculty, for perhaps your team at times, to get down. And we need to take a moment and celebrate this level of growth. That's real. We all understand not just the challenges at Southside Middle School, but in some levels across the country as we came out of COVID. And that is a significant improvement that should be, we should take a moment and recognize that. So, and I hope you have with your folks.
We have. It is a difficult sell at times because, again, the usual benchmark is I learn pass rate, sort of period, and we have not had improvement there, sort of yet. We'll see how tomorrow goes and how last week went, and this takes into account many factors beyond academics, and we're going to take a quick look at some of those right now. But I appreciate you recognizing that. You're right. That is a tough hill to climb when it's mostly negative.
Have you ever, I assume most everybody in the room has heard of learned helplessness. The
Yep.
experiments that were done 50, 60, 70 years ago with continued stimuli that is negative in nature, learned helplessness sets in. And it sets in regardless of age, regardless of gender, students, teachers. And so if you're consistently receiving messages of failure, and that message is without context, you will quit. I don't care who you are. I mean, eventually it will beat you down. So, and that's been my complaint about the assessments consistently, because we have this very rigid structure, as you point out. And I understand the need for that at a certain level, but we also have to be smart enough to characterize that in a nuanced way, not just for our own benefit, but most importantly for our students' benefit.
Absolutely.
Because they've got to feel, that's why I like that visual on the graph.
That's exactly right. You asked the question, how did our students react to that?
Precisely.
That's why I said you could, again, you can't literally feel, but you could feel the positivity and the energy. Again, absolutely. I mean, I would go to these guys and say, and the students too, is it just me, or is there like positivity in the air? And then we'd go into the classrooms and see this is why.
You have to be able to see that you are passing the mile markers.
Correct. You can't do, right.
One quick question. Are these 6th, 7th, and 8th graders?
Yes.
Okay. And so,
Now, let me quickly clarify. So the growth there is last year's 6th and 7th and 8th graders, because it's the 23-24 enrollment. So the current freshmen, now 8th graders and 7th graders.
So you got
Yep.
a new cohort.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of
And
new
we-
cohort, it's a little bit of
Yep.
combination of both, the success in the elementary.
Correct. And along those lines, Jim, I will also say that there is historically, and Mr. Williams has said this as well, historically, nationally, certainly in our school, a dip in the 6th grade. For lots of reasons, a dip in the 6th grade. So we've tried to do some things to combat that. some with success, some without. But you're right. And I've met with the sixth graders, actually before they came when they were fifth graders. We're excited to have you coming because I hear that you are more prepared for our school than before. They've struggled on the behavioral side. They've struggled on the relationship side with each other, which is not, we haven't had the growth with them that we would hope. But again, we haven't thrown in the towel. We're strategizing to try to fix it. You're welcome. We can go through some of these other slides pretty quickly. These are like Mr. Heater's golf score. These are where the lower score, the better. So where you see the numbers have gone down, that's a good thing. When we're talking about the number of discipline referrals, that's a good thing when you see the number of out-of-school suspensions. The upper chart showing we've made progress in lowering that to some extent, not to the level we'd like, but again, let's focus on the improvement, not a makeshift goal. Same thing, monthly attendance. Mr. Koska's here tonight. He and Mrs. Haynes have worked together on sort of the heaviest hitters to our attendance rate, those who are habitually, chronically absent. And one of the pieces back to this, it's not reflected in here, but that Amy would point out, has pointed out to us, is our attendance rate for those who come to school and are engaged. That is a very high level. So we have more and more kids who have commendable percentages. We still haven't blasted those out that are the anchors to our overall rate, but our kids like coming to school, and I'll talk about why here in a second. Yes, sir.
Coming from the math guy, I see it both graphs.
Yep.
Decline from the start of school to the end of school.
Yep.
Is that because, and I say this because we see that in higher ed as well, that our students are running out of energy when they get to about March, April time? Is that what's happening?
I think it's partly that. I think it's also, you just go by sheer percentages. In January of this year, January 2025, you could easily say about 15% of our students are really struggling academically and are not engaged in the life of the school outside of the classroom. So again, those kids who are holding the number up pretty well for those who aren't. So there's a separation of who's coming to school and who's not. Along those lines, getting students engaged in the life of the school is really, really important. And we've focused in on that as a school, athletics-wise. Again, Mr. Koska's here as our athletics director. He has kind of taken it upon himself to run breakfast and run as many lunch periods as his energy will allow him to do. And he's done that not just because he loves the discipline of the cafeteria. He's done that because he's really able to engage and develop positive relationships with kids and recruit them to sports. You're going to see a graphic here in a minute that shows sport to sport. But in regard to attendance, those students who are involved in athletics have high attendance, 90.9%. These numbers are very consistent, as you're going to see. After-school clubs, 89.8 for about 90%. Co-curricular attendance, 89%. So those kids who are involved, they do well. We had a challenge with that, as in I challenged the student body. I called it the Panera Pick 2 Challenge, and gave breakfast bagels to the classroom that had the most students in the class, first period, that had 2 activities. Because those who have 2 tend to do better. Mr. Dean's class won that if you're interested. Some of this is, again, quite remarkable. Our track and field number has almost doubled. Girls basketball has more than tripled. And that doesn't just happen because we've got more kids, to your point, Mr. Lowe, on the coming up from the 5th grade wanting to play. It's very intentional work on Danny's part and others to get kids involved. And again, all that's going to do is help them come to school more, help them have better academics, a better experience, and so on. When I got to Southside, actually the summer after I started there, we hired Jalen Hens. In fact, quick shout out to Gary Moore, who had already hired Jalen and allowed us to take her because she really wanted to develop a choir. And so you can see picture of the kids on the left. Our goal was to double that in 5 years. We've more than doubled it in 3 years, and with room to grow there. And then the most recent development of, again, interest and energy to have kids involved is Gear Up. We had, lost my place here, sorry. Former Southside High School AD Tom Lyon is the local leader of that organization. He's partnered with Ms. Williams from our building. We had 40 students. He was astounded at that. We had 40 students at the first meeting. He got a little upset with Mr. Kraft when Mr. Kraft saw 40 and challenged the kids, hey, bring a friend next week. Tom feeds these kids, so it was hurting him in the pocketbook. And lo and behold, we had 56 kids at the next one. So, and that's just, I think, what's 5-6 weeks old, that organization. So again, a lot of positive energy to get involved in school. We said early on that we can't kind of consequence our way through our challenges. We've got to improve via incentives. JD developed this acronym, behavior, attendance, and grades, BAG. We've got this in the bag. And so we have a lot of incentives that are based on those 3 elements of school. I've got a list here, and that picture is of those kids who last year were passing 5 subjects, had 90% attendance and 0 referrals. And we took all of them to Kings Island. And again, thank you to several of you in the room who contributed to that effort. So I think I said 90%, 94%. All that said, don't take my word for it. I've got some students that are here to share with you their thoughts. Come on up, students who are here to share your thoughts.
Come on up.
And we're going to go, we'll go ladies first. So Crystal, tell them who you are and what you do. And they've got a little bit of a script that some of them, I think, have brought or memorized, and then they know that you are ready to fire questions at them. So have at it.
Hello, my name is Crystal Flores. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you, Crystal.
So I was part of the girls basketball team in 6th and 7th grade and part of the girls volleyball team this year in 8th grade. And my favorite part about being a Panther is all the support that I'm getting from all the principals to get my grades up, better test scores, better grades in general, just so I can have a better future in Central and beyond.
That's fantastic, Crystal. So how are you doing in school?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
And are you an 8th grader?
Yes.
And will you go to Central next year?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to stay involved?
Yes, I will.
So you did volleyball your 8th grade year. What are your plans for Central?
I'm thinking of doing volleyball.
Okay. What about clubs?
Maybe choir.
Choir,
Yes,
okay.
because I was part of choir this year and since 7th grade.
Okay, so you've been part of the choir?
Yeah.
Well, I would encourage you to stay in the choir. The music program's fantastic. And what's your favorite subject at school?
I think science.
Science?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Who'd you bring with you?
Dalen.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Dalen Curtis. I'm an 8th grader at Southside. And I'm in the drama club. So far, or not so far, by the end of my time at SMS, I should do 6 plays. Yeah. And my favorite memories from SMS has probably been the times after the plays, if I did it well. And also the fact that I got to go to school with my twin sister.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. What's your twin sister's name?
It's Rayla Curtis.
Okay. And what's your favorite play that you've been in?
That's a hard one. I think the first one, just because just because of the memories. It's
What was that play?
it was 28 plays in 28 minutes.
Okay,
It was like a play per minute.
okay. So, will you stay involved in drama?
I think I will. Yes.
Okay, and you're in 8th grade, right?
Yeah.
And what's your favorite subject?
Mine is probably biology.
Okay. And have you done anything with civic theater in town?
No, I haven't. Maybe
Yeah.
I will though.
Yeah, I think you ought to look into that. You know, Dr. Washburn's very active in civic theater, and she could get you information if you wanted to.
All right. All right.
So thank you. And who's next?
This is.
My name is Cameron Dabney. I'm a member of the football, wrestling, and track team, and I'm also president of the Principals Advisory Council. I transferred in from Cowan this year, and I've enjoyed my short time as a Panther because of the many opportunities that I've had at Southside. On behalf of my fellow classmates and student body overall, we thank you for your support of our school, especially the efforts and incentives made to help us improve in the ways we explained tonight.
Well, you just did a fantastic job. Did you write that? That was perfect. You've got a future in the world of politics.
Thank you.
Along those lines, Mr. Williams, I will say that I think all of you go to the inauguration. Our students went to the inauguration of Governor Braun.
Okay.
I asked our students, so who do you think we might be attending their inauguration, as in a classmate somewhere down the road? And they unanimously said David.
Okay.
So
Well,
maybe Cameron can be a running mate to David.
or maybe they can run against each other.
At least we get one of them in office.
Well, is there anything that you've had at Southview that you didn't like particular, or it's not Southview, Southside Middle School that you didn't like?
Not really. I think everything that goes on is helping us a lot. You know, there's sometimes when there's a lot of disruptions, but other than that, it's really good at Southside.
Well, that, disruptions or students who are maybe not behaving the way they need to?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Curtis? Anything that you would like to see changed?
Maybe add a few more, like, I don't really know what you would call them, elective classes, like woodworking maybe, or something like that.
Okay. Well, we had woodworking when I was a student. One of my classmates cut his finger off, so.
Maybe not woodworking exactly.
Krista, what about you?
I think the same thing, like behavioral, because a lot of kids do behavioral problems, and it's really disruptive.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. So are you all, and you're going to be at Central next year also?
Yes, sir.
We're not going to lose you back to Cowan, right?
No.
Okay, well, we're excited about that. Well, thank you all for coming tonight and for telling us a little bit about Southside Middle School. We appreciate it. Awesome. You've been very brave.
I'll just quickly add that one of the things we're proudest of regarding Cam, in regard to just his or in addition to his overall being, Cam's dad was a security officer at our school when we started together. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Cam went to Cowan early and now he's back with us. So I think he's kind of maybe a shining example of a parent who's noticed the improvements we've talked about tonight. So, any questions for me?
Yeah, any questions for Mr. Raiders?
Or preferably, or my staff?
Mr. Hayes, I talked to you for a second. You're new, right?
Sure.
How long have you been at the school?
Since January.
Okay, so we're just now getting to it, right? Is it on the list?
Yeah.
Okay, so you enjoying it?
I am.
Okay, well, we feel very fortunate to have you. I've heard that things are going pretty well.
I appreciate it. It's a total team effort. Like Mr. Rager says, we're like-minded, so there's not a lot of chink in our armor. Kind of dress it the same way, so there's no wiggle room to go to this one, to that one, to get what they want. So we're pretty good united front. Good old line.
Yeah, I heard something the other day. You know, the offensive line is the only position in any sport that plays with its back to the ball all the time. So it takes really smart people to do that. So just for the benefit of you all, your team and the leadership, this board started in July of 2018, and there have been challenges at Southside Middle School. We certainly have seen improvements over the last 3 years. And I know that at times, you and your team want things to move more quickly. We would love to see them move more quickly. But we also understand the challenges that you all are working with and to overcome for the sake of our students. So thank you for your efforts. The consistency that has occurred during that period of time has been critically important to a greater degree of stability. And we just hope we can keep moving in the right direction. And no one is under the illusion that any of this is easy any place. But it is so essential, and we just thank you for your efforts. Any additional questions? Anything? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Okay. Dr. Reynolds.
Yeah, sure. Just, Southside, thanks again, guys, for coming in and presenting. We appreciate it. It's a very special place to me, and important work being done there, so thank you. Got a bunch of one-liners tonight, Mr. Williams. Information, celebrations, and thank yous. We had open enrollment began last week, and had great attendance at our kindergarten kickoffs. We had nearly 40 more students and families show up to enroll than over the last 2 years. So very excited about getting new families and families enrolled, engaged with the schools early. Enrollment is still open. Let me reemphasize that. So if you've not clicked on those forms and updated the forms for your return to the Muncie schools next year, please do so, just to help us prepare for the next school year. As Mr. Rader's mentioned, testing is underway, so that is a high stress time for students and parents and faculty and staff. So continue to encourage all of those folks to do their best and to recognize the importance of the test, but recognize also that it's a one dipstick moment in time for all those folks involved. So I just think it's always good to have that conversation and be thinking about that. Summer school programs are up and posted. I think we've talked about that last time. Getting good engagement there and getting folks signed up for that. Listen and learn sessions. We wrapped up our last listen and learn session last week. We had good attendance. I did a couple of road shows with Lifelong Learners Group at Ball State, the Exchange Club, Community Engagement Council, where I went out and had conversations and gathered input from those folks in addition to our listen and learn sessions. People are very pleased with the work that we are all a part of and the progress we're making, recognizing there's still plenty of work to do, and receive good feedback from those sessions. So our team will begin looking at that and digesting that. We'll work with Dr. K to help us pin out those plans and put the strategies into a plan that we'll bring back later in June and July for approval and action. Maybe a couple of fun things. We have all of our spring sports and programs are in full motion. This Saturday is the Muncie Relays. It's one of the oldest track meets in Indiana. So if you get a chance to come out, it's a lot of fun. Showcase our facility. Schools from all over the state will come to that. It is a boys-only event. Starts at 10 a.m., but another good showcase for MCS. Kind competitions for our bands and choirs. It started last week with or a couple weeks ago with our middle schools. The high school band and choir will continue this week. And let's see what else. And did anybody else? Oh, and Celebrate Excellence, the art show. Celebrate Excellence and the art show is coming up May 15th. That'll be just a few days after our next meeting, so I wanted to make sure you got that out on your calendar. We'll have that at the field house. Brad has assured me that we'll have plenty of parking, that we won't have anything to worry about at that time. No, maybe not so much, Brad. But and then on social media, I don't know if you got the chance to see that on Friday when the students were home didn't have school for kids on a snow makeup day. So a mysterious guest went around and hid some Easter eggs around our buildings and then posted on social media for our families to go out and see if they could find those. And we had terrific interaction on social media and kids taking pictures out in front of our buildings, finding those little treasures. Just a little fun for our students over a day off to keep them engaged. It was a tremendous idea for Miss White, and had lots of great engagement on social media, and most importantly, seeing some smiling kid faces find those in the building, so in front of the building. So really a neat, fun, out of the box activity.
So was it chocolate or?
Oh, I think there was some chocolate, some sticky candy. I don't know if there's any. Oh, there's some gift cards in there, all donated, and just a fun something to do.
What's sticky candy?
Skittles.
Oh, okay.
Sour sticky candy.
Okay. Okay.
You really need to live that life. You don't want anybody.
I don't.
He's not had to run a concession stand as a band parent or a band director where he had no sticky candy.
I'm not offended. I do now. I heard they're going to make it illegal.
They might.
That's what I heard today. But Skittles are on their way out. So,
jeez.
Yeah, that's what, government.
Good profit margin. You hate to see that go for
you do.
band boosters and athletic boosters.
Okay. Any questions for Dr. Reynolds?
Let me add, you did a wonderful job. The Association of Lifelong Learners. You ran into one of several former people.
Boy, he did. He signed me up to do this, and I had a few, several teachers, one of my bosses, former teachers, church attendees that I grew up with. It was high pressure. I wasn't quite ready. I was a little sweaty.
Any additional questions? Do you have any public comments? Okay. We'll go to the consent agenda. The items in personnel, couple notes. Dean Hayes, who we just...
He was going from interim to
yeah, I figured that's all right. Interim was just here. But something to note for the board is that I think George Schaefer was a Central student who presented with the advisory group. Is it the same George Schaefer? Who's a special ed aide?
Yes. I believe so.
Barbara and Carl's son?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back at the outset of our existence, George was one of the members of the Student Advisory Council who presented, not here, but someplace else. So full circle, we'll welcome him and the other recommendations. Do we have anybody else who is a new hire with us tonight? Look like it. Any additional questions concerning the consent agenda? Okay, we have a motion for approval. Do I hear a second? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Mr. Jerome, financial report?
Thank you. Presented in your board packet is the financial update, financial report for the month of March, and just a few highlights on the front page on the dashboard. Still reporting state basic grant as an estimate for the calendar year 2025, about $47.3 million. Because the legislature is still in session, still debating perhaps what the budget information may trickle down for schools because fiscal year 26 affects the last 6 months of our calendar year here. So certainly probably not going to be more than 47.3 million, but at least that's an estimate that we're still using for now. Still over 35 million in our checkbook, still continuing to pay our state loan as originally intended. That's down to 7.3 million. The rest of our financial update, still tracking, obviously just 3 months into the calendar year. Still expecting to be over 15.5 million or so at the end of the 2025 for the education fund, and we had no long-term debt payments in the month of March. Still tracking a lot of information, obviously, from the legislature last week on Senate Bill 1 and what that may do for schools. And we've seen many different estimates and many different models or simulations, if you will, that's been passed on to us. And we're still, I guess, digesting all those. Some of those showed us losses of perhaps 700,000 or 800,000 in the operation fund, and then other times you look at it, it's about the same amount of money that we receive now. So we'll wait and see how that all gets interpreted in the next few weeks, I would guess, after the legislature ends up. Really no other changes or surprises in the financial report or the charts and graphs. We're still tracking well on spending appropriations, still planning on spending some money out of the rainy day fund to help offset operational spending. That's still our plan for 2025. So that kind of concludes our report for this month.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. Any questions regarding the financial report? If there are no questions, would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Hear a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We'll show the financial report passes. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is for the board to hold a preliminary determination on proposed construction projects that we discussed at the prior meeting. If you're interested in speaking at this hearing, please make sure you've signed the sign-in sheet, which would include your name and address. After presentation is made by Mr. Jerome for the administration, there'll be an opportunity for comments on the project. At this commentary period, we would ask that each person limit their comments to 3 minutes and the topic be limited to the proposed projects under consideration. This notice was published as legally required. At this time, I will ask Mr. Jerome to explain the purpose of the hearing in a little greater detail.
Thank you. Pursuant to Indiana Code, a school corporation must hold 2 public hearings and adopt a resolution to preliminarily determine to issue bonds or enter a lease for a project which has a total cost in excess of certain thresholds. These public hearings and the future consideration of resolutions are the very beginning of this legal process. We note that no board action is legally required for this first hearing. Rather, this hearing is solely to hear public comment regarding the project.
Okay, we will continue to hear from Mr. Jerome about the process of determining and communicating the project to the community and the educational need for the project.
Okay, thank you. For the last meetings or so, we've certainly talked about some future capital needs as we did that some, and we'll get into more of that this evening. And basically, what we have presented to the board, we started talking about it a month ago, is really a culmination of many capital project reviews that we have done within the district, looking at our current needs in the district. Over the last 3 years, we have done projects related to spending money on bond projects that related to some severe capital needs that were needed at the Muncie Central campus, related to the football field, the football stadium, and over at the field house, and also on the Muncie Central campus. And we also were able, with federal ESSER funds, that we did not have to issue debt, we were able to use ESSER funds to renovate 3 schools. And we did that with no borrowed money at all. And at the same time, also, I mentioned those 3 previous bond projects that we did, and currently the one we're doing this summer. Those payments were based on debts that were paid off in 1 year or 2 year payments, almost like a 2 year mortgage payment or 1 year mortgage payment. So those debts have continued to come off. And with that being said, we still have many needs in the district, which I will address that. Some of these things that we have identified as needs in the district that have certainly need attention is the boiler and the HVAC system at the Muncie Fieldhouse. That failed a year ago, so we've gone 2 winters in a row at the Fieldhouse with a rented boiler system on the back of a semi, and obviously it needs to have a more final conclusion to that and replace that. We also want to talk about chiller replacement at Northside Middle School. That was also original equipment there. We have some lower arena bleachers to replace that are over 40 years old at the Muncie Fieldhouse. We also had to take out the bleachers at Northside Middle School, basically also original bleachers, dealing with a lot of repairs with those. Those were taken out. We have a lot of exterior door sets at Muncie Central. We have 18 exterior door sets at Muncie Central High School. That represents probably over 50 doors. And once again, those are original doors. It's just a tremendous upgrade on security if we can continue to replace these. We have over 50,000 square feet of roofing sections that need to be replaced in the district at a variety of schools. We have not done a roofing project. It's been 2 years since we were able to do that. And when we talk about the operation fund and how that works with when we do these bond projects, we just don't have the existing money or funds set aside. We just don't have it in the operation fund. So the way we're able to do some of these projects is take money out of the bond proceeds. And that's what this would represent for these roofing projects. In addition to those roof section projects, and this is by far probably not an all-inclusive list, we have resurfacing the track at Southside Middle School that's in dire need, resurfacing the tennis courts at Southside Middle School, and also resurfacing tennis courts at Muncie Central High School. Those would be the primary items on that particular list. No item that I have listed has yet been spec designed or anything like that with architects or a construction manager. This is just our identified list that we feel like is necessary to bring in front of the public, and then the school board tonight.
Okay, so it's anticipated that this project would meet the proposed needs?
That is correct. I mean, this particular project addresses those particular needs. It helps the building envelope. When you talk about roofing, you're really protecting all the items underneath it. And these particular items were identified with our roofing consultant that we have to identify roofs that are in need of replacement. And most of these roofs, we've got tremendous life out of them. Most of these are in that 25 to 35 year age. And as you know, most all roofs in a school corporation are what you call flat roofs. This is not like you'd have in a home. So they need to be replaced from time to time. And we have certainly used roofing repair companies to help extend the life as much as we can. And we've just reached the end on certain sections. And I think the most recent projects we had done were at Southside Middle School, 2 years ago, and then at Northview Elementary when we had done some smaller projects there. But all these projects address needs that are certainly needed in the district for operational purposes.
Okay. As we discussed at the prior meeting, it's our understanding that the proposed financing is tax neutral, but if you want to go into a bit of detail about that.
Yeah. And we've been partnering with our Baker Tilly consultants, and they have put some of this information up behind us. Thank you, Cindy. We've done very well at Muncie Community Schools over the last 7 years. Way back in 2018, a little over $38 million in long-term debt. That number is now down to a little over $22 million. We've continued to pay off things as they're originally intended. And obviously back in 2019, we went back and did all that work on those original 2014 GO bonds, and all that work was then done the year of 2019 that addressed many capital needs and HVAC systems at that time. So we've continued to do some of these smaller projects that we could afford and pay off early, pay off quickly. And that really brings us to today. We're down to, at the end of last December, a little over 22.8 million in outstanding debt, and these are all scheduled on amortization schedules. What this project would be, and it totals approximately $19 million, and we would still be tax neutral is what we're trying to do, keep the tax rate at the existing 41 cents, and then after 2 years, it's going to drop down to 16 cents on the debt service tax rate. And all this is done under the same backdrop of all these legislative changes that are still in the works and have been passed just a week or two ago. This would all still fit under those parameters. The Baker Tilly folks have structured this debt in basically two pieces, if you will. And what they have done a combination of issuing part of the debt would be as a lease rental debt, and part of it would be as general obligation bonds. And by doing that, it allows us to keep some capacity for the district if we had more project needs 2 years out. And it's structured that way just to help keep the tax rate low. And that's why they have helped structure that. When they originally, we originally tried to work with them to figure out what is the best way to structure this type of project. When we talked about it with them, they came back with three different scenarios, and this is the one that was going to work out the best for us, to just split it up to where we would sell bonds in 2025 in two different methods. One was the lease rental proposal of about 10 million, or general obligation of 9.8. Those general obligation bonds would be paid off in 2 years with a 2-year payment, and those lease rental bonds would be paid off over 15 years. But the whole combination is to keep that tax rate steady for the next 2 years, and then it will drop to 16 cents is their estimate after that. So they're trying to give us flexibility going forward in case we ever had new projects or things that would come up. We know as a school district, you're never really done making improvements, and this would help address some serious needs that, as we've continued on making Muncie schools facilities look better and be more operationally sound, this will help continue that process. So I feel like what they have presented to us is a way to give us flexibility for the future.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jerome, for working with Baker Tilly, and thank you to Mr. Heater and I think there were others who participating, Mrs. Barnes-Griffin, in the meetings with Baker Tilly and council. It's exciting that we have it structured in a way which is able to maintain tax neutrality for the next 2 years and then see a pretty dramatic reduction. So that's also gives flexibility for the future. These are all, as we look at it, certainly both safety and operational concerns when it comes to having reliable roofing, reliable doors at Central, the boiler at the field house, obviously an incredibly important part of the history and continued wellness of Muncie Community Schools. So thank you for that introduction. At this point,
Jim, can I?
Sure.
To comment, if I may, and thank Baker Tilly because they've been a great partner of ours from the time that we've been involved. Just two things: the 41 cents that is our current rate is about 20% below what the average rate is across the state, and I think that should be of note to us. And secondly, the 16 cents we keep referring to is, I think we want to at least be a little cautious about that, because what we want to do is provide capacity for us to do the things in the schools that we do need, which that I think that's what that 16 cents gives us is the bogey between where we are today and what that 16 cents could be if there's no additional borrowing, which we may need depending upon the plan that this board with Jim's leadership and Brad and you and Chuck have worked. We know there are costs out there, so I just want to be cautious a little bit there to make sure that we know that.
to Dave's point, would you go to slide 4? I think it's 1 over. The assessed value, $2 billion. That's a big excess value for us to take care of. And the $19 million may sound like a lot of money, but it's below even that which the standard would suggest you continue to pour into your buildings. So it's amazing what Brad and others are doing to maintain our buildings at a very low cost when it could be into the $25 to $60 million range annually. We just don't have those resources. But what he's doing and others are doing is just remarkable, considering a $2 billion asset that you have to maintain. It's just
Yes.
great job.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how the costs just don't go down on facility upkeep or building new facility or buying equipment. After the pandemic, it seemed like the world changed on the equipment and the lead times on mechanical equipment or the HVAC equipment. We just saw tremendous increases that they really have not come back down, nor do we expect them to. So
We got those small buses.
we did get the small buses.
I saw those.
Good.
I just want to.
Just honk the horn.
So we will call the public hearing to order. And if anyone would like to speak at this point, please come forward and speak. Would anyone like to be heard on these capital projects? Anyone? Opportunity has been held for hearing. I do appreciate the information provided to the board, and again, Mr. Lowe and Mr. Heater's contributions regarding the status of the project and where it stands in terms of fiscal responsibility, which is well within the range of responsible fiduciary behavior by the board and by the administration. So thank you. So at this point, we will close the hearing and we will move to the next item in the agenda, okay, which is dialogue of the board and recommendations. I do not have any, I always have dialogue, but I don't have any recommendations. Anybody have anything?
Jim, if I could just add, it is a kind of a trying time in public education and when we're keeping a close eye on all the legislation. I attended a meeting last week and got a legislative update from the Superintendent's Association and their legislative liaison. And then they brought in Lauren Seiler from Ice Miller and gave a number of recommendations in order to prepare. I felt extremely good that we had made all those steps, those conversations that we've had with the board, preparing for bond work, knowing and contacting our financial consultant, Brad, I feel like has been 100% on top of it. I know that he loses sleep at night over it, but I felt very good at that meeting because of those conversations and those steps that they recommended that we take, we had already taken. So I want to thank Brad for keeping us in the loop and doing those, keeping us ahead of the game.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Reynolds, and to your team for helping us navigate uncertain waters. Anything additional? Mr. Klotz, any media? Okay. Would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Entertain a second?
Second.
Okay, it's my understanding we need a roll call vote. I probably should have, in order to be official, since Mrs. Barnes Griffin is with us remotely, we will reopen the motion on the consent agenda, approval of the financial report, and the motion and the adjournment, showing motions and seconds on all of those, and I will call the roll. Mr. Heater, do you approve?
Aye. Yes.
Dr. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Lowe?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Barnes Griffin? And Mr. Williams is a yes. So, one of the things that 35 years of practicing law has taught me is that everything's fixable.
Good work.
Except a few things, but we won't talk about this. Okay, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's really not, it's all like exercise. Very well.